Welcome to episode 62 of Twitchy Tuesdays. Today we are diving deep into the lush and fertile energies of this Taurus new moon. It's an invitation to plant seeds, as all new moons are, but this one has a little bit of a really personal flavor to it, which we'll talk about in our upcoming chart chronicles. In our Zodiac Spotlight today, we are also going to be discussing our next series of fortunate events. I think we only have like two more left. So here we roll, and we will also do a high level overview of May. We obviously have the chart for the new moon that we'll discuss. And as always, we end with the twitchy tip of the week. Before we dive into cleaning out the broom closet, today is going to be a little bit of a different Twitchy Tuesdays. I will try to keep my hands down in good form, good mudras, but I don't have any cards today. Today is just one of those. We are showing up, we are talking about the astrology, and we are going to get out of here. That was what I was feeling called to do. So we won't have any tarot readings. However, there is a lot of movement that is happening over the course of this week. Lots of planets changing signs. We've got some stations, we've got a moon, we've got May starting. So I am going to be doing a bunch of lives between now and Sunday over on Twitchy Tuesday Live. And that is going to be full tarot readings, whether it's pick a card or a complete spread or pulling tarot for anybody that joins me. We'll see kind of how the vibe goes and what actually happens over there. But you'll want to follow and subscribe over there so that way you know when I go live and can get then the magic of the tarot. So let's go ahead and start out with cleaning out the broom closet. So for those that are new to my channel, welcome. And for those who have been here before, thank you for joining me again. Cleaning out the broom closet is a segment where we look at all of the different aspects that are occurring this week. And because we're a little twitchy, our weeks are a little wonky. We go from Tuesday, when this is released, to the following Monday. And then I highlight in different colors some of the important items, transits, lunations, ingresses, or stations that you should be aware of coming up in the week. So let's start today. 4:30. Mars is in Aries. He is home. We will definitely talk about that in our series of fortunate events. And today, Venus in Taurus also squares Pluto in Aquarius at 2 degrees 6 arc minutes. And boy, do we need this 5-1. Look, we need to enter May with no like budding direct because all of the energy is already present as Pluto is going super duper slow, if not even just stopped at this point, to head retrograde, which will occur on 5-2 at 2 degrees 6 arc minutes. Then on 5-3, Mars and Aries will, of course, sextile Pluto retrograde in Aquarius, just freshly retrograde at the same degree point. And then on 5-4, Venus and Taurus will trine Juno and Virgo at 6 degrees, 48 arc minutes. And Mars and Aries will trine Pallas Athene retrograde in Sag at 3 degrees, 23 arc minutes. Then we get to breathe. May the 4th be with you. May the Sith be with you. Like we've got all of the things happening, but we do get a moment to breathe on 5-5. That is going to be wonderful. And then on 5-6, Mercury will conjunct Chiron and Aries at 21 degrees, 2 arc minutes, which is part of our series of fortunate events. So let's now head over to the Zodiac Spotlight. I'm going to leave it actually on this screen because I don't have the cards available. So we'll talk about our series of events, which ties together with this 5-6 Mercury conjunct Chiron. I do have a separate slide for the Zodiac Spotlight for May. So when we get there, I'll change screens then. And then we will head to the chart for the new moon in Taurus and end. So Zodiac Spotlight. This is a segment that's designed to highlight upcoming events in future weeks that you should be aware of. So typically these things aren't typically happening in the week that we talk about them. Gives you a little preparatory time to be ready for the energies. We also have obviously like our ongoing stories or events that will be highlighted here as well. Today, again, we are continuing our series of fortunate events with Mercury now direct and our monthly overview of May. So let's head into Mercury. So we left off with Venus in our last series of fortunate event update. That was in episode 60. If you need more context on the background that I'm going to be talking about, the story that we have been developing, that is going to be found in episode 58. So, literally from episode 58, we in that episode, like the tarot just brought about the most magical story and was very clear about how this series of fortunate events can be articulated and understood. So we're going to be talking about it. I'll try to fill in the blanks as best I can, but watching it live, watching it in real time on episode 58, magic. And I believe, don't quote me, but I believe I did, if you're on YouTube, I did chapter that. So there you go. But essentially, what this all revolved around was Mars and his kingdom. So Mars is the ruler of Aries. This is his kingdom. Literally today, 4:30, he is home. He finally arrived home. And what the story consisted of was we've had since March these meetups, these conjunctions with the North Node and Chiron and Aries. Now Mars was far away. He was in a foreign land. He was on a boat trying to get home, and who was home was all of his kingdom. Mercury was home, the sun was home, the moon was home, Venus was home. And they have been supporting, being Chiron and the North Node being emissaries in a foreign land, in Mars's land, wanting to do business with Mars, whatever that business is. And his, Mars's kingdom, Mars's um, group of advisors has had to like placate, like butter up, do whatever they're doing with the North Node and Chiron as Mars makes his way back from his journey. And Mars has been gone a long time, right? Like Mars doesn't just hit Aries, like this has been a journey for Mars. So Mars is coming back with new wisdom. Mars is coming back with different ideas and insights. We don't even know if what Mars wants is what he wanted, 2-ish years ago. Um, and maybe Venus and Mercury have been working off of old paradigms. We don't know. But this is all how, from this story perspective, how does that influence our own lives? Where have we been holding on to past stories that what actually is our story now? What is actually our values now? How are we healing through those things? How are we moving forward on our destiny, which is where the North Node and Chiron come in for? What are we planting? What does Mars need to make a decision on? And this is how the series of fortunate events have really come and been understood since we started this on March 18th. So, last update was Venus was able to lend her charms and feminine eye to the emissaries, the North Node and Chiron, that are waiting for Mars to make his way to his kingdom. So, they've been doing a lot of talking with Mercury, the sun, and the moon. They've been doing lots of talking. They've been doing all their things. Venus has been able to look out, be that observer, and then apply charm and apply that feminine eye, apply that intuition to now what Mercury has really been leading and doing in Mars's absence. So let's take a reminder of what part of your chart this is truly like been activating, which it's in Aries. So if you have your natal chart, you want to look for Aries and you want to look for the midpoint of Aries. So these are occurring anywhere from that 15-degree point, that actual midpoint, all the way, I think, to 2102, might be 22 degrees. So it's like this, second and third decan of Aries is where this energy has been really prevalent. So on 318, Mercury met up with the North Node. Then on 320, he met up with Chiron. Then on 4 and 4-8, the sun met up with the North Node in Chiron, and that is where we got our great Chiron eclipse, the total solar eclipse on 4-8. Then on 4-15, Mercury retrograde hit up Chiron on his way back. And that happened at 19 degrees, 49 arc minutes. And then on 4-17 and 4-21, Venus met up with the North Node and then Chiron. Then on 4-25, Mercury station direct, hallelujah, at 15 degrees, 59 arc minutes of Aries. The North Node was at 14 degrees, 45 arc minutes of Aries when he stationed direct. So this was not an actual like direct conversation. So if we're looking at it in the context of this story, this may be a party that Mercury put on that the North Node was present at. Maybe they sat kind of close to each other on at the table, but it wasn't an opportunity for a private audience. This wasn't a private audience like before. So, whatever had to be said with the North Node and Mercury as he's stationed direct had to be said out in public, out loud, out in front of others. Then on 5-6, which is why we're here talking about our next in our series of fortunate events, Mercury will conjunct Chiron at 21 degrees, 2 arc minutes of Aries. So now Mercury met up with Chiron early on, then went to 19 degrees, and now is meeting back up at 21 degrees. So these are all different degree points that have different Sabian symbols associated with them, which I'll get to here in a second. But this is how this series of fortunate events even started to unravel, was through the Sabian symbols and what they can teach us about these meetups based on the planets and their energies that are present. So that is what is coming up on 5-6. Then our very last in this series of fortunate events, 5-19 and 5-29. Mars comes home. 5-19, Mars makes it back to his kingdom. So Mars being ingressing into Aries on 4-30, which is today, is when Mars hits sovereign land based on the tarot reading that we did. So it's not that Mars is back home. It's not that Mars is present with Mercury, the North Node. It's not like Mars, like I got the very clear image and through the tarot was Mars docked his ship on his land. It's all his kingdom, but his castle, where all of this is actually taking place in that 15 to 21 degree marker, 22 degree marker point, that is a 2 week travel by horseback from sea to his actual legitimate kingdom where the North Node and Chiron are waiting for him. So that's why 5-19, like, yes, he's on his land. Yes, we know he's coming, but the conversation really doesn't close out and finalize until Mars hits the North Node on 5-19 and then Chiron on 5-29. So that is where we stand in our series of fortunate events. Just to remind everyone, Chiron and the North Node, when you have a sequence of events like this, Chiron and the North Node are really all about healing forward, right? Healing being Chiron's area, forward being the North Node's area. It's in the healing towards or for your highest purpose. That's where the North Node wants you to go. That is what Chiron wants you to do. And it's getting your patterns, unconscious traumas. It's getting them out of the way so you can fully embody who exactly your authenticity. That's the best way to say it. So it's like the healing that gets you to the next step, the healing your soul wanted to ensure that you incorporated in this lifetime, all of this energy moving forward. And with this next series being Mercury, which is now direct, this is that third and final pass through with Chiron. With Mercury being the target here, it's all about how do you understand, think, and speak about it whatever that healing is, whatever the conversation has been as the representative of Mars, while Mars hasn't been in his kingdom to do that. What are you going to tell Mars when he arrives? What conversations are you already having up here? What have you already told him? If you knew Mars was going to be here on 4:30, park in his boat on his land at the ocean, knows he has a 2-week journey by horseback, what did you send 2 weeks ahead of time? So that way the letters would be there when Mars gets on sovereign land. What did you update him on? What did you take stock of? What stories did you provide? Did you do anything? Is Mars just coming into his kingdom completely blind, has no idea that Chiron and the North Node are even there? So this is how this story can unravel in it, for us. And then you've got 13 days to figure it out. There's 13 days between the 30th and the 19th. Yeah. No, I'm sorry, the 6th and the 19th. So Mercury's last conjunction with Chiron, there's 13 days before Mars gets home. What does this look like? How are you handling it? What are you doing with it? What questions do you still need to be answered? Are you giving the space, being Mercury, are you giving the space that when Mars gets there, that he is not going to be the space, the respect? I'm also hearing the understanding. I'm also hearing, but just the opportunity to show how he's grown since the last time that you saw him. Give him the opportunity to have all of the information available and present before making a decision on the action. Not taking action. Look, I get it. I get it. There's a piece of me too that like Mercury wants to make the decision, but this is not Mercury's kingdom. Mercury is a subject in this kingdom. Mercury is a trusted advisor in this kingdom. And while, yes, he may have authority to act on behalf of, whatever Mercury does, Mars is going to have to answer for and or change and or do something different and or this. So are you giving yourself the grace and the ease and the understanding that it's really Mars that has to make the decision in Aries, that needs to take that next step of action in Aries, that Mercury can provide the details. But if all you're looking at is, you know, your the gut after hearing all the things and just like what you understand, think, and how you're speaking about it, are you taking into consideration others' opinions? If you need to, maybe you don't need to. But these are think about Mars as the ruler. You put yourself in that position as the sovereign, the king and the queen. Bridge in some of that archetypal energy and go, what am I going to need from Mercury, from Venus, from the sun, from the moon? What is the things that I need in order to clear, in order to make the decision, in order to take the action on the information that Chiron and the North Node have been bringing in since March, since they arrived in my kingdom, which we know Chiron and the North Node have been in Aries much longer than March, but these conversations, that's when they got to, in the context of this story, that is when the personal planets started activating and interacting with them. So that is where we are at. That is our series of fortunate events. We will have one-ish, two more conversations as Mars gets home. We will definitely keep following up, and you can find out more about this series of fortunate events and how the Sabian symbol for each of these meetups color this event in a little bit of a different way. These are in short video format, so they're less than 60 seconds. They are on YouTube and on X. And if you are on YouTube, they will all be in the Sabian Explorations playlist. If you are on X, they are always found in the highlights section. All of videos that I post on X are always in the highlights section. All right. That part of the Zodiac Spotlight is done. Let's head over to the other part of the Zodiac Spotlight, which is the overview of May. Look, this is how I was feeling today. I saw this before I went live. Look at that 523 Sagittarius full moon. You see? Do y'all, who sees it? Who sees what I'm about ready to say right now? Like, drop a comment for real. The fact that there is not a little dash between them is probably going to drive me nuts. I am in, this is where I am at today. I was like, I'm not redoing it. I'm not, look, Mercury, Venus, my Mercury Venus conjunction in Virgo in the third. Y'all are just going to have to chill out for a minute. Like, I'm just going to need you to chill out for a minute. But I'm going to point it out. So, let's talk about May. Lunations. 5/7, we have the Taurus new moon, which we're going to get into here in just a bit. 5/23, we have the Sagittarius full moon. We have two stations in May, which is great. Pluto stations retrograde in Aquarius on 5/2, and on 5/15, Sirius will station retrograde. Then our ingresses, Mercury on 5/15 will head into Taurus and join this great Taurus cluster that we have going on, one of the last ones that we have for this year. On 5/16, Pallas Athene will head retrograde back into Scorpio. 5/20, Gemini season begins. Yay, Geminis. Can't wait for that. 5/23, Venus will head into Gemini. And the biggest event of May, Jupiter. Jupiter, our lovely friend Jupiter on 5/25, will leave all of the energy of Taurus and head straight into Gemini. Not coming back to Taurus, going to be amazing. Super excited about that. There is a lot of excitement that comes into May. There's a lot of energy that is of buoyancy, optimism, excitement. And that's all this Jupiter coloring. Jupiter knows he's getting into Gemini. Jupiter knows this is his month. Jupiter's like, hey, we've got this. I mean, the weather's been beautiful. Look, I was just in Boston last week. It was chilly, but the sun was out and the flowers were blooming. And so it was quite lovely. Like, we're coming into that lovely time of the year that we're getting out of that hibernation pretty much across all of the northern hemisphere. So we do have excitement coming into May. Now, from a transit perspective, there are two things in May that I really want to call out on as you begin to prepare. There is a lot of Saturn sextiles this month. We're going to talk about that here in a second. And when I was feeling into this, like, I'll go over kind of each one. When I was feeling into these sextiles, I really heard the term like thoughtful insights. Be thoughtful and have thoughtful insights. Be gracious about the insights that are being shown to you within your third eye, or in your intuition, in your dream state, whatever, however these insights come. It's be grateful, place thoughts on them, actually, like, think about them. They could be fucking wild. They could be super wild and you're like, I have no idea where that came from. Like, why all of a sudden do I spontaneously want to go and get a scuba license? Like, I have no desire to go scuba anywhere. Who knows? Place some thought around it. Is it real? Do you want to really, like, be willing to have these thoughtful conversations with yourself around the insights that you're getting? Then we have these Taurus clusters, which I will also talk about as well. The Taurus clusters. Whoa. It's actually going to be better when we get to the chart so that way you can see how much energy is in Taurus right now. But these Taurus clusters, even with this Jupiter excitement, even with Gemini season starting, which should be fantastic to get out of this fixed energy, but ho, 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 not 2024. We don't do that in 2024. Oh no, we're not coming out of the eye of the storm. We're headed into it. Gemini season starts with extreme Taurus energy. There is a grip of energy in Taurus when Gemini season starts. So even though we get this change, this air change, this flexibility change, Jupiter's even more excited. We're getting fucking 5 days away. We're getting close. May very, very much is colored by Taurian energy. It's not until we really get into the last week of May, headed into all of June, that Gemini begins to truly ramp up and we get a lot of the lovely Gemini things that we're all looking for. So Taurus clusters slow down to literally speed up. It's going to be like pressing the gas and the brake all at the same time. Like there's going to be I want to go. Oh, wait, I can't go. Okay, hold on. Oh, this needs to change. And when I was thinking about all of this, I went back to all of the work that we were doing in November, December, and January, and coming into the first part of this year around delayed gratification. We have to contend with the overwhelming Taurus energies, the overwhelming fixed earth energies. We have to give them the the I mean, they're going to be so loud, it's like you can't ignore them. However, we do have, as the sun moves into Gemini, as Venus, as Jupiter, and as we begin to get all of this energy into Gemini, you're going to want to feel like, let's go, let's go. We want to do these things. But again, it's that delayed gratification. Go back to those practices. Hopefully they're still active if you've been with me over the last couple of months, and just understand that it is going to be in the time frame that it needs to be. Don't get caught up, like utilize that Gemini mutable energy to just go with the flow. Just go with the flow. Go sit outside in the sun. Go with the flow. Go smell some roses. Like just go do the things. All right, so let's talk about these Saturn sextiles before we head into the chart chronicles. So a sextile is a positive aspect that spans 60 degrees between two signs. So in a chart, if you have one sign, whatever sign you're looking at, and in this particular one, we are looking at Pisces and Taurus. If you look at Pisces, you'll see like there are those 60 degrees between those two signs. So, sextiles help us to feel it is a positive aspect. It helps us to feel a little more buoyant, a little more uplifted, a little more optimistic about the energies that are present in those areas. There's this ability with sextiles to, like, even in the star, right? It's like clear, dedicated, focused work. Even in its little glyph is a star. And it's this line of sight to what you are trying to tackle, what things are upcoming, what things are you wrapping up. How are you going to do that in an efficient way? And it gives you this clarity because it's this line of sight item that's like, okay, I can use these and do something with them, and I can tie these things off in a bow. They're not as potent as trines, but like trines are really like, okay, we are rocking and rolling here. Where sextiles, you really have to be deliberate. You have to be willing to come to that table, be willing to look up and see that line of sight, and be willing to look at all of the, like, you've got to be deliberate in your actions that you take. So the Saturn sextiles between Pisces and Taurus, Lord Almighty. All right. So I did some research, went through all of this. I was like, whoa, this is a way longer story than just this month of May. And I think that that's really important to understand. So Jupiter sextiling Saturn never perfected. They have been riding this loose sextile wave, and Jupiter and Saturn are big planets. So, like, I like to work in 3-degree orbs, but still, like, the energies are still co present. So, they have been riding this sextile wave with each other since the beginning of this year. So, this has been an underlying energy where it's like, I just got the image of a library and it's Jupiter's on one end of the library, like Saturn's on the other end of the library. They can see each other. I see them studying over there. I know I can go up and get them. I know I can ask them questions, but it's a library, so I got to be kind of quiet. Like I can't shout. Like I'm physically going to have to get up and go over there and say something in hushed tones. And I don't know if I want to do that. Like I don't want to like leave my books unattended. I've got my wallet right here, myself. Like I don't want to pack up all my shit to walk like way down the library to go talk. So this is that Jupiter and Saturn kind of conversation since the beginning of the year. Then Jupiter conjunct Uranus. And that was in Saturn was within 6 degrees. Again, depending upon what types of orbs you use and all of that, it does not negate the fact that this energy is present together. Period. Dot. So when Jupiter and Uranus conjunct, Saturn was in 6 degrees. So the sextile definitely was a layer in the song, but it wasn't the main beat. Like it's one of those instruments that you like, is that a fucking cowbell? Like, am I hearing a cow? Like, am I hearing a cowbell in the song, or am I? That's this energy that was present with Saturn when Jupiter and Uranus conjunct. So now, where are we at? Well, the sun's going to sextile Saturn. The moon's going to sextile Saturn. 17 degrees, few arc minutes off of each other. And wham, thank you very much. We have the new moon. So while Jupiter and Uranus and even Neptune at this point are not being massively influenced, right? Like they've let me rephrase that. They're not being directly aspected. Our personal planets and our luminaries are. So we've got the sun, we've got the moon, then the new moon happens. Of course, this new moon is sextile Saturn. We'll talk about that in the chart. But then, as the personal planets make their way through Taurus, which we'll also talk about when we pull up this chart, I mean, there's going to be a lot of energy in Taurus until the 23rd, 20th, 23rd. All of our personal planets will also sextile Saturn and then Neptune. Lots of sextiling going on. Like, I feel like we should do like a dance or something. So, Neptune and Uranus, and this is where I want to talk about the future and how this kind of like ties together with everything. The personal planets, I'm sorry, Neptune and Uranus won't sextile in Pisces Taurus at all. Kind of bizarre. I didn't check past like if they do any retrogrades back in, so like I'll at least say it. The first time that they sextile is going to be when Neptune is in Aries and Uranus is in Gemini on August 29th of 2025. I didn't go out past 2025. So if there is any retrogrades back and they sextile, okay, that's a 2026 problem. So that is a whole different energetic vibe than Pisces and Taurus. So they're going to ride on the edge throughout this year into next year, but they're never going to perfect. So again, we'll hear a story, there'll be a presence, but it's not a direct conversation. When we talk about Uranus sextiling Saturn, they're going to toe the line literally toe the line with each other for months headed into 2025. It's kind of absurd. And when you look at the ephemeris, like it's just, are you guys ever going to meet? What is happening here? And of course, they will meet. And they're not just going to meet one time, they are going to meet 3 times. And those 3 times are going to span 2 different signs. In the cacophony that is 2025 and 2026, it's literally the eye of the storm. This is just a very interesting layer on top of it. So Saturn in Pisces will sextile Uranus and Taurus on April 4th of 2025. That will be at 24 degrees 55 arc minutes. Then Saturn in Aries, who will be retrograde, will sextile Uranus and Gemini on August 12th. I love when my birthday comes up in transits, y'all. That's going to be amazing. That will be at 1 degree 12 arc minutes. And then January 20th of 2026, Saturn in Pisces will sextile Uranus and Taurus retrograde at 27 degrees 33 arc minutes. So obviously we'll do a lot more on this. Is like, again, it's good to know. It's good to understand. It's good to like have this kind of insight so it can be prepared. But again, at this point, that's a 2025 problem. We will get there. All right. Let's take a look at this chart. Here we grow into our chart chronicles. This is where we pull up the transit chart, always for the new moon and full moon, and then any other transits that warrant a closer visual look. This segment still in development. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying kind of playing around with how this comes out, and I'm always looking for ways to enhance this section. So if you have any ideas or would like to see something different, please leave me a comment. Let me know. We'll see what we can do. So the new moon in Taurus occurs on 5/7 of 2024 at 10:22 p.m. Central at 18 degrees 2 arc minutes of Taurus and sextiling Saturn. There you go. All right, let me mark up this chart for y'all. So, what do I want to use? It's a Taurus. We're going to do some rounded squares here. So here is where we are looking and where you will want to look in your chart for the new moon. So this is the glyph for Taurus right here. It's like kind of looks like a little circle with horns for the bull. And the sun and the moon are conjunct at 18 degrees 2 arc minutes. All conjunctions are new moons. When the sun and the moon are opposite each other, that's when we get our full moons. So here is where you are looking. It's 18 degree point. And again, here we have Saturn. Let me get over here with our sextile. I'm going to do a light blue. So here's our sextile. As you can see, the glyph for a sextile is like that. And this is our sextile to our great friend Saturn over here chilling in Pisces at 17 degrees 13 arc minutes. So again, the sun will sextile Saturn first, then the moon will sextile Saturn, then we get this new moon. So, still very present. It's kind of like an all day activation of this conversation. There are other things that are occurring in this chart, right? We've got some goddess action over here in these trines. We've got more goddess action and up here as well. So there is other things that are occurring, but honestly, like this moon, I actually really struggled with. And again, I don't know if it's, me and where my chart's at right now, if it's Pluto, whatever it is, like I just really struggled finding the energy for this moon. Um, I struggled finding like my key phrase, what I wanted to speak on, what information to provide. And these last few days, it's just been like I don't know what I'm going to do for this Twitchy Tuesday. Are we even going to do a Twitchy Tuesday? Like, I'm already recording this on the day of Twitchy Tuesday. It didn't even get released on time. Like, what are we doing here? Like, what is happening? And then it hit me today. It hit me as I was once again, for the like umpteenth time, looking at this chart. Like, what is this chart trying to tell me? That's the point. It told me everything that it needed to. This moon and all of this energy in Taurus, like, let me get back here. Let me just like highlight. Let's just paint all of this Taurus energy. Ooh, look how sparkly that is. Well, that's lovely. Look at all of this Taurus energy present. Oh no, we cannot have Venus. Hold on. Boop. All right, look, not cover Venus up there. Look at all of this Taurus energy coming on. Now you'll want to, ignore this glyph. Let's just leave that out. That's a different like mathematical equation. We're looking at Venus, Sun, Moon, Uranus, and Taurus. And obviously, Mercury, as we know, is not far behind. So this moon is incredibly individual. And the breadth of what is occurring in the Taurus sector of our charts, it's I got this like feeling that it's too much to talk about. Like, it's, and not that we're each, and this is a potential too, obviously, but it's not that we're each have too much going on. It's more so about what this moon can potentially cover the entirety of Jupiter's expanse, that this moon has the potential for each individual to tap into, is way more than I can cover in this one episode of Twitchy Tuesday. It's too much for an overview conversation. And it is, I'm getting so many goosebumps right now. This is the point in time where whatever is occurring, you have to take personal responsibility for. You have to observe yourself and your journey, what that journey has been like since the beginning of the year. As we talked about these Saturn sextiles, there's a story here that has been unfolding since the beginning of the year with Jupiter. There's been massive conversations. We just had this partner moon, right, with our Scorpio full moon. What that was after this intense eclipse energy. What does all of this mean in your life? There's just the world, and I mean, I even love that this is like, I'm gonna undo this, but like, look at this pocket of potential. This is a happy yellow box of potential. Like, it's a pack. Look at this. Hold on. This is going to be fabulous. Like, look, there is going to be something sprouting out of this that is just so wonderful. Look at this flower that we're creating right here. I mean, come on, y'all. This is all of your potential. It is sitting in this moon, waiting for you to nurture it. Plant seeds in yourself. How do you then make those seeds if you've already planted them? What are the necessary steps now that at this moon, our beautiful friend Mars is right here at 5 degrees of Aries, making his way to his meetup, to his home? What are you bringing into what actions does Mars need? Look, in this series of fortunate events, here's the sun, here's the moon, here's Venus. They all already went through all of this. All of these seeds that are in here have been, hold on, let's get a little brown up in here. Bam. all of these seeds that we planted here in Aries, as all of this energy was moving into this beautiful yellow pot of possibilities, Mars now gets to take action on those, being at home. And then as he goes through and covers all of this same points, he's going to get into Taurus and cover all of this ground. So what do you want him to cultivate? What flower is he growing? What seed needs to come out? What seeds need to come out? You have permission to bring your dreams to reality. And guess what? Like, y'all, I did not plan it this way. This is literally all coming off the cuff. My note literally says, hold on, I'm going to bring back this sextile with our amazing friend Saturn. This is the note that I wrote. You have permission to bring your dreams to reality, and you have the container to do so. And we're done. Enough said. Like, I don't know how it could get any better than that. Oh, you're missing the pretty flower. Let me see if I can move this for y'all. Like, does that work? If I move this, does it move? What's happening here? Hold on. Let me see if I can make this big and see what happens. Oh, you kind of see it a little better. All right. I drew a really pretty flower. You're welcome. All right. Ooh, well, that was quite the overview. Definitely love when things work out like that. Love spirit. Thank you, ancestors, for doing that for us. So, this is the point in the episode where I tell you about all the things I do here, but we are not doing that anymore. Nope. I just ask that if you find this episode valuable, hit that thumbs or heart, subscribe or follow, and explore our other content. Don't forget, I did not have the tarot with me today because I am dedicating the rest of this week from tomorrow until Sunday doing a bunch of live tarot reads for all of the energy shifts that we are going into this week alone. So, make sure to go follow at Twitchy Tuesdays live on YouTube and you will be notified when I go live. All right, Twitchy tip at the week. We are here at the end. Welcome to the end. Congratulations. I end each episode with the Twitchy tip of the week, and this tip is random and completely comes to me through intuitive means. That's what we do here. And this is the message loud and clear because y'all, I was seriously having a conversation in my head about not even releasing this episode. This is where we're at, and I'm okay with that. I honor that. But show up. Don't show up for others. Show up for yourself. I will tell you that I love being here with each and every one of you, and I love delivering this information. It fills my cup. But doing this episode also fills another cup for me of consistency and showing up for myself, doing the things that I say I'm going to do, doing the commitments that I say that I'm going to commit to. And this is how you work with the universe, your ancestors, spirit, angels, whatever the modality, your spirit guides, whatever that modality is for you, this is how you work with them. This is how you show your dedication. It's how you live in Pele or good character. It's, admitting what you're able to show up as and show up as that. I could not do a tarot reading today. I was just like, no, no. And when I understood that that's what was stopping me from this recording, I did it. So I still get to show up, do this episode, put this out there because that's my commitment. That is what I commit to each and every one of you. But I also commit to myself. I also commit to my ancestors. I also commit to my path and purpose. And it's okay because I've got my other commitments. I found a way to still honor myself and show up for myself. And that is my twitchy tip of the week. And I will tell you, you always feel better when you do. Right? Like when you are trying to get some habits laid and you show up and you do those things no matter how much you didn't want to. I don't know if I've ever said, well, that wasn't fucking worth showing up for. I may not, it may suck, like especially thinking about working out, right? Like when I show up on my mat, no, that fucking class sucked, but I'm glad I went. We all have that. So, where can you this week show up for yourself? You always feel better when you do. And because our friend Pluto is retrograding in Aquarius and we still have some vibrant 11th and 12th house energies with Aquarius and Pisces, and we've got this beautiful sextiling Saturn that we're doing, show up for yourself so that way you can show up for others. Or how can you show up for yourself that also shows up for others? Well, things to think about. All right, y'all, we're done. That's it. I'll stop talking. May your days be filled with enchantment. May your nights be guided by the stars and your spirit forever be in tune with the cosmic dance. Keep those third eyes open, my fellow twitchy seekers. Until next time, blessed be and stay twitchy. Bye, y'all.
In the cosmic dance, where stars align, Milani guides us through signs divine, astrology secrets in the night sky, revealed in her sessions where mysteries lie.